man? Chris Cartman, Son of a Source. I know you don't necessarily need it, but do you feel like any of your receiving options, including tight ends, are capable of maybe separating themselves from the group and being kind of go-to guys, especially maybe on third downs?
Yeah, that's always a nice option to have. I think there's a skill set that each one of them have that you have to be conscious of and aware of from a game planning standpoint. So I think they can show that to you in different ways. You know, whether it be a speed guy, an underneath guy, a space guy. So I think you can game plan to their strengths probably more so than a universal guy. If you have a universal guy that can do it all, then fantastic. But at the end of the day, our job is to put them in position to win a one-on-one, whether it be in zone coverage or man. And so I think we have a nice skill set. You know, we talk about our receiving corps a little bit like a basketball team. You know, we have some big guys, we have some short guys, fast guys, agile guys. So we have some flexibility, some skill set that we can utilize those guys in different ways.
And then big picture, do you think that it's possible that tight end, one or more tight ends or one or more of your running backs could be among the team leaders in receptions this year?
Yeah, that's hard to say. You know, obviously we're going to try to get on the ball and utilize their skill set as much as we can. But you know, one of our challenges is to the quarterbacks is you take what the defense is giving you. You know, in years past, you know, you'll scheme up 10 plays to go to this one guy, and only one of those 10 actually shake out that way. Sometimes just the defense plays something different, and you have to react, or whatever the case may be. So we'll definitely have our thoughts going into a play, but at the end of the day, react to what you see.
Coach, whenever he was in here the other day, he talked about bringing some plays that he's willing to deploy that he's comfortable with in Florida. Not asking you to divulge enemy secrets or anything, but can you kind of talk about the process of maybe sitting with him, talking about maybe those plays? Do you have the personnel to make those work and how they would fit in your offense?
Yeah, that's been a nice conversation, a nice dynamic. Obviously, he has some background in different scheme, a lot of successful schemes. So I've picked his brain with some stuff that he's liked, and probably more important that he feels comfortable with. Right? We want to put plays in front of him that he feels comfortable with. So, you know, obviously, if you have some success with certain type of schemes, then you have a comfort level. So I've definitely tried to utilize that. We've had those conversations. And not only that, but just even coaching points as far as technique that he might prefer than something that I've taught in years past. And we've kind of talked through that, you know, hey, I like this footwork versus this footwork or this drop or this read. And we've talked through that, trying to just create a comfort level and what he feels more, you know, best with.
Anything that you're going to put in the playbook, do you think?
Oh, there's definitely a few. Yeah, there'd be definitely a few. So we'll see, you know. I'm sure he'll be the first to tell you that. He'll be like, that was my play, you know.
Coach Michael Caratanino, Sideline Sports. And to kind of piggyback off that, I mean, how do you feel that, I mean, now to this point in camp, getting closer to game day, that he is gelling with the receivers and also with the offensive line?
I think so. I mean, even in today's practice, he brought them all up and you know, had a heart-to-heart and reset in practice. And from that point on, we stepped it up and even played better. So I thought that was a great example of where he is from a leadership standpoint on the team and the comfort level that he has to do that. So I think he's in a good place.
And then, but, I mean, within the playbook, you feel like, he's obviously getting comfortable with picking up what you want to do and what you want to accomplish?
I think so. And the last week, you know, Coach has done a great job. This week has kind of been that mock week for us. And like this is a game week Thursday today for us. So as we've gone through the week, he's kind of seen how the week is going to progress. So I think even from this point moving forward, as we really dial in a game plan, what we're trying to get done from a scripting standpoint, a situation standpoint, I think we'll even make bigger steps as the playbook shrinks to what we're trying to get done. Yeah, I don't know if it's smoke has settled. You know, obviously there's kind of that one guy that their eyes can go to, and they have, you know, they don't have to answer those questions as much as anything, you know, which is part of it. But I think there is a comfort level and excitement of that when that decision has been made, and moving forward, that's our guy, and the confidence and trust is in that guy. So I think it's probably more that than anything else.
Yeah, Glenn, we saw today first team offense moved the ball really well in the 2-minute, got down to the 1 yard line. Maybe I think Herm said there was 15 seconds left. You're hoping to get another playoff. how do you feel about some of those sort of more detail-oriented points about being able to execute going into games in critical situations like that?
Yeah, I think particularly early in the season, the 2 minute always rears its head, right? I mean, it's always, whether it be before the half, we talk about the middle eight, the last 4 minutes of the second quarter, first 4 minutes of the third quarter. And that 2 minute always falls into play some form or fashion. So we've really been conscious to work on that. Coach has done a great job of implementing probably more than years past, just from a conditioning standpoint. It's a great way for our defense to get the no huddle stuff, to get the tempo, to get different looks, different formation, how they have to react, and not rely on a huddle as opposed to relaying, whether it be signals or whatever the case may be. So we've been probably overly used, if you will, the 2 minute situation for a lot of different reasons because of that. It shows its head so much early in the season, and with a bunch of new guys, like you say, that communication needs to be on point, and everybody needs to be on the same page.
Michael Donahue, WCSN. Emory Jones came in after the spring, so you've only had a chance to work with him for a couple of weeks now. What has impressed you most about him?
I think his professionalism, when the first time he came in was, he was definitely geared and focused and conscientious to get the best of what he could in the short amount of time that he was here, right? I mean, we were almost meeting every day. He was coming in and trying to get as much information as he could because he knew he had a limited time to gain a lot of ground. So I think his professionalism, I think he took fantastic notes. We'd come in the next day and I'd kind of quiz him on maybe the day before, install, kind of what he was liking, what he was, what he didn't like, what reads, and he had any questions, and he was on top of it. So you could tell he put a lot of work in the dark hours after he left the building, to get ahead for the next day. So once, camp truly started, he was ready to go, and, and that showed. I mean, even the first day of camp, he was already getting some reps with the ones, and he was hitting the ground running even when camp started.
Yeah. What would you say have been some of the more promising signs or developmental aspects with your wide receivers, maybe collectively and individually?
The signs is what? Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
Things that you've taken from the last few weeks as very positive about the potential for that group.
Well, I'm excited. A handful of them have just been here in the last few months. So, again, kind of with the Emory, they've had to learn a lot in a short amount of time, so they've had to really expedite that process of learning the system. And we've been overly aggressive with getting them in there with the rotation, forcing their hand to show what they can do. But I don't think they've flinched. I mean, they're in there. They want to play. They want to make plays. We've challenged them, and I think they're up to that challenge, and they're excited to, get out here in front of the lights and do their thing.
Anyone individually that's you've been really pleased with recently?
As far as the new guys or just anybody in general?
Any of the receivers?
I think Badge is taking a nice step in the right direction. There's a lot of conversation, particularly in the spring, as far as it's his turn to take it to the next step. So we've challenged him, offensively. That's been the challenge for us to him to really step up and be the leader of that group. So I've been really impressed with him. He's been pretty consistent throughout each day, and has been more and more of a leader. And I think he's got more of a comfort level. The Charles Halls, the Zekes, the Dre's, those guys have really been consistent in making plays when given the opportunity. So now it's a continuation of when the lights come on.
And Gio Sanders has never played, but he's going to get opportunities.
No question. He's a great one. I should have mentioned him too. He's been fantastic. He's just been steady. We talk about he's a one a day. One a day, he's going to make some sort of wild catch, contested, out of bounds, get his feet in or something, and he's good for one a day. So he's been fantastic. Excited about what he's going to bring to the table.
And Coach, and adding even like X and Daniel into the passing game, what have you, and just in general, seen from the running backs in that aspect?
I think they've been really good. I think that's something that we're going to be very conscious of to try to utilize that, not only from a design, a route just for those guys, but also from a check down standpoint. I think, quarterbacks are underutilized the check downs late in the downs, right? And just a chance to give those guys an easy completion. You keep your completion percentage up, you keep your rhythm of the offense up, and give those chance to make a play in space. So I think in a variety of ways, we're going to try to get those guys the ball, and I think they have the skill set to do that. They can catch it, and obviously they're athletic enough to make plays and make people miss, down the field.